everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R chat for Sunday, June 7th, 2026. Newman Enterprises is Newman Enterprises again. Yay! I don't think I ever once actually called it Summer's Conglomerate. It was always Newman Enterprises. And it will always be Newman Enterprises. Nice power move, though. It was a nice little side jaunt. So, almost immediately after getting out of the hospital for his drug overdose, Nick goes right to work on getting the family company back. He tells Phyllis, "Thank you so much for saving my life. Really appreciate that. Now, if you don't give Newman Enterprises back to us, I am going to tell Christine, the DA, your biggest rival, that you were harboring a fugitive while you had Matt Clark stashed upstairs in that hotel room you were paying for." Wow. Phyllis was flabbergasted. And we don't often see Phyllis that absolutely flabbergasted. I mean, she just mouth-to-mouthed him back from the brink of death. And he has the nerve to turn around and blackmail her? Oh, no, no, no. Phyllis said, "Who are you? You're not Nick Newman. You're a drug addict. The Nick Newman that I know would never do this to me." Now, okay, hold up. Because Phyllis's whole "how could you do this to me" routine does not sit quite right with me. How could Nick do this to you? You stole his family company. Literally thieved it right out from under him. The legacy that Victor spent his entire life building. The jobs that Victoria and Nick and Adam had. The future that their children were supposed to have. And how could he do this to you? No. She looked incredible saying it, though. That black and red stripy blouse that was buttoned all the way up to the collar. Gorgeous. Again, very winter. A little too wintry for June, but gorgeous. I mean, probably put that on the rack and use it again for Valentine's Day. I also really loved the black and nude dress that she was wearing, because you look at it from one angle and it tricks your eye into thinking that it's skin. And it was just gorgeous. It looked so good on her, but she knew she was toast. Or rather, I think on some level, Phyllis had to have just been tired of fighting this. So she and Michael go out to the ranch, met with Victor and Christine, and Phyllis told Victor, "If you tell Christine that you were the one behind those emails, that you faked them, and if you can get the charges dropped against me, then fine, I will give Newman Enterprises back to you." And here's the shocking part. He did it! He agreed! destroyed Christine's case, left her without any other options, really. I kind of think Victor would have been smarter to hold out. I mean, Phyllis was probably gonna go to prison. Christine was probably gonna find a way to send Phyllis to prison. So if Victor could have just held out, he could have had revenge and the company. But I also think on some level he was ready to be done with it too. I mean, I know I was getting to be ready to be done with it. So we were done with it. Victor declared we won and had a champagne toast with most of the family. Not all. And then he just kind of moved on to other matters, such as getting that portrait back on the wall. I think that's got to be his number one thing at the top of his to-do list. Get the Victor Newman portrait back on the wall, because that's going to be a really dramatic moment that I'm looking forward to. Watching Phyllis's portrait come down and Victor's portrait go back up. What is Phyllis going to do now? Honestly, I had hoped that she would somehow walk away from this with a little bit of money or enough money to start up a new business for herself or a new project for herself. But all Phyllis was really hoping for, at the very least, was that she would have earned back her children's trust and affection. And unfortunately for her, that is not the case. Phyllis tells Daniel that she gave the company back, and yet in Daniel's mind, she didn't do it for the right reasons. She did it because she had to. She was forced to. And for Daniel, that is not good enough. Leave it to Sharon to jump in there and guilt trip him. I mean, provide positive reinforcement. Oh. Sharon told Daniel, well, if everyone treats Phyllis like a pariah, then she's really going to have no reason to turn any of this around. She needs support, not continued reprimands. So Sharon tracks Phyllis down to offer her support, which I do really think that Phyllis needs. But at the same time, as much as I love Phyllis, the knife cuts both ways. You know, you cannot make your power move and take credit for it and then be all poor me when the power move doesn't work out. She put her chips in, you know? She played the game. And she won big for a while. She got to be the big player. But then the cards went bad and she lost. You just got to take that as part of the game. I personally am glad that this chapter is over for Phyllis. The Newman Enterprises takeover was never her finest moment. From the moment she chloroformed until now, it just has not been my favorite version of Phyllis. And I don't know what comes next for her, but I will tell you one thing for sure. I do not want to see Phyllis go crawling back to Cain, or coming in between Lily and Cain's relationship. But that's exactly what's about to happen. On Friday, Lily was summoned out to the Newman Ranch to receive the surprise of her life. Victor is actually making good on their deal And he's signing Chancellor Industries over to her. And what is the first thing that she does as soon as she finds out? She runs to Cain and asks him to run it. Really? I mean, when this deal went down, she was on the outs with Cain. What was the original plan? I thought it was to bring it into Winters, or I don't know. Why go to Cain? Because you know what the first thing he is going to do is he's going to hire Phyllis. And probably Billy too. And probably Matt too. So it's like, well, wow, what is Lily going to think about that? Is she going to trust him? The kids trust him now. The kids are back to calling him Dad. Everything is totally turned around for Cain. I don't want to see that go backwards. I kind of feel like Lily influenced Maddie and Charlie, don't you? I don't know. She was influencing them and their opinion on Cain right in the beginning. So why not now? You know, I just kind of feel like she had the control now, then and now. Cain made some mystery money and created an AI super weapon, and that made him a monster. And then now he gives his bone marrow to Malcolm, and he's a hero. But which is it, Mom? My eyeballs nearly popped right out of my head when I saw Malcolm walking around that corner in the preview. I mean, I honestly never expected to see him again. I thought for sure he was going to take the bone marrow and run. But now he's going to get a chance to play catch with Holden and Chancellor Park, throw the old baseball around. Perfect timing. So next week's going to be the thank you tour, the gratitude tour. Malcolm's going to be singing Cain's praises. And I wonder if he is going to have a talk with Devon too. Because Devon, aka Mr. Uptight, is extra uptight right now about everything. About Cain, about Holden, about the Winters name. But you know what? I kind of don't blame him about that last one, especially. I feel like these people need to be questioned. Cain has always been sus. Always. And now Holden is walking around town in his leather jacket with the last name Winters embossed on the back. Well, I can see why Devon would be feeling defensive and protective of that. Lily is a bona fide Winters. No two ways about it. Made by Malcolm, raised by Neil. Devon, though, is an adopted Winters, and he had to earn that name. I actually completely forgot that he legally changed his last name to Winters. I still call him Devon Hamilton. I will have to make a better effort to stop doing that, but Devon was every bit Neil's son. I feel like Nate is like, he's a Winters by proxy. He's grandfathered in. I mean, he's legacy. He was a child on the show. But Holden, I mean, it's all coming in out of the blue, and it's only a couple of weeks old. Long lost son, who, did we even get a DNA test on him? I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like I would darn sure be questioning all of this. Holden and his mom could be two opportunists for all we know. I mean, stranger things have happened in this town. One must be prepared. Plus, Holden came to town pretending to be Damien, which, by the way, is the exact same thing Cain did back in the day. Cain came to town pretending to be Philip Chancellor III. And now Stephanie, who I love, is so clearly trying to steal my man. I mean, did you see the way she practically gushes around him? I thought those cheeks were going to explode. Nate just can't seem to get a romance to stick. But, you know, he has something at least to talk about with Stephanie. Like, about how they're doctors and, you know, and they do doctor things and have doctor lives. I mean, what more could you ask for a connection? I mean, there's a part of me that feels like Nate has more chemistry with hot Stephanie than cold Victoria. I'm sorry. Victoria and Nate are filler. They are filler. Y&R made the biggest mistake of the decade by killing off Cole. Cole was the match for Victoria. But then Y&R decided to slaughter Cole, Chance, and Damien so that they could have the budget to build Kane's train. Did you know there's a shadow room on every continent? Every single continent. Y&R has got to stop this ridiculous pattern of building sets that are supposed to be in other cities and then magically moving them to Genoa City. It is totally ridiculous. Y&R would have relocated that abandoned gas station if they could have, if they hadn't decided to blow it up. Ugh. I mean, I get it. I get it. We are trying to maximize our budgets here, but the shadow room is not exactly happy memories. And I feel mixed about it. There are cons and pros. Con, it feels recycled, not new. Con, we just moved it to Genoa City. That whole excuse is ridiculous. Con, it's a bar. Yuck. If we have to be at a bar, I would rather be at the Jazz Lounge. Do not want to spend my days in a dark, dank bar. And on that note, con, it's dark. I don't like spending my summer staring at a dark set. But, pro, Y&R has always been dark. Visually. In fact, it's one of the first things that attracted me to the show, because everything else in daytime in 1993 was bright, but Y&R had this beautiful visual depth, this contrast. So that counts. And another thing I noticed that goes in the pro column, our characters and the wardrobe really, really pops out against that absolutely black background. And I mean, it is almost pitch black. And pro, there is a picture of 80s Danny Romolati on the wall. And I guess at the end of the day, that probably outweighs everything for me. Yeah. Maybe I should just throw my objections right out the window, because I could look at mullet Danny 5 days a week. Easy. Oh. But there's also a picture of Tessa on the wall, which is cool. And I wonder if there are other nods to the music of Y&R hidden on those walls. Well, there's going to be a grand opening next week, but I feel like we've pretty much already seen it. So let's put a poll on it. The Shadow Room. Thumbs up or thumbs down? yrchat.com if you would like to cast your vote. Matt Clark had all of his monstrous memories come flooding back to him the second he took his field trip to the Shadow Room. I love the premise, though, that the Newmans were like, okay, we can't be mad at the guy who doesn't remember what he did, but if we can jog his memory into remembering what he did, then yeah, sure, then we can nail him. How did that work out? As soon as Matt got there and started looking around and started absorbing it, it all kind of came back in a series of black and white flashbacks. And I have to say, normally I don't like flashbacks of things that just happened. Like, in the scheme of things, it was all pretty recent, but seeing those bad Matt memories sitting side by side with this Matt, just a guy who is practically curled into a ball of tears. I mean, that was really, really effective to see it side by side. Matt is literally in the middle of an existential crisis. Who am I? He needs medical help. I mean, Victor even acknowledged it's like a mental disorder, a mental health crisis. He needs help. It's not the kind of thing you should have to deal with on your own. Matt is asking himself, how could I have been that person then and do the things that I did and still be this person that I feel like now? And how could I never go back to being that guy again? I mean, he is absolutely broken, begging for redemption, desperate to get a shower, not just because he's dirty, but I think probably he's probably dying to just wash the feelings away. That Newman shower, though. Woo! That must be amazing. Victor has probably got one of those really fancy shower heads with multiple digital options. And the water is probably piped in direct from the Swiss Alps. It's fun to imagine that. But leave it to Victor to take Matt's need for redemption and weaponize it. Ah, a loyalty test. Victor Newman's specialty. You want to prove that you're sorry. You want to prove that you're not that person anymore. Well, you can do that by going after Kane for me. Great. So, prove you're a good person by being a bad person, but doing it for me. This was a great week for Adam. He had two amazing scenes. First with Sally, then with Chelsea. So Adam walks up to the Chancellor Park Cafe, sees Sally sitting there, and decides to talk to her about the news that Billy dropped on him last week. She's getting married to Billy. She's having a baby with Billy. And Adam and Sally's conversation turned into talking about the baby that they lost, Ava. Now, Sally admitted that she still dreams of Ava, and I thought it was interesting how absolutely and immediately drawn to that Adam was. It was almost as if he felt like he could somehow connect to Ava through Sally and through her dreams. It was really, really moving. I think Adam and Sally are connected not as much by what didn't happen between them, but by what didn't happen between them. You know, that there was a life that they could have had. There was a child that they didn't have. There was a family they could have experienced together. And then Adam goes back to Chelsea and he asks her if she ever thinks about having another kid. And Chelsea was like, yeah, no. Oh. And then Adam was like, oh, yeah, me too. Just a thought, no big deal. But I wonder how true that is, because Adam seems almost to be longing for something more, while Chelsea seems very satisfied with what they already have. And it's not a, well, she's wrong and he's right type situation. It's just, do these two people still have goals that meet up? And maybe the answer is yes, absolutely. But maybe the answer is no, not anymore. Phyllis and Nick have chemistry. They just do. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold, but it's still chemistry. And it will always be there. There was this moment during their argument this week where I thought, are Nick and Phyllis going to get back together after all of this? Then he turned around and blackmailed her, and that kind of turned things around. But there was a moment between them that felt like that old spark. Phyllis seemed to be genuinely scared, like she thought she had lost him. Nick is like an anchor for her. Good, bad, and everything in between. He is always there. In fact, I would say Nick has been the biggest constant in her life, except for maybe Jack. And that got me thinking about where it all began. And for Nick and Phyllis, it all began with an affair. And this is the retro recap that I have been wanting to do for a long time, since the beginning, because this is easily one of the biggest and most shocking stories that The Young and the Restless has ever told. Nick cheats on Sharon with Phyllis right after Cassie's death. It was shocking in the truest sense. Like, I cannot believe this is happening right now. Like, it wasn't bad enough that we had just been through Cassie's death, the death of a 15-year-old girl who we had watched grow up on screen, a child who actually had lines, a child who was actually part of the show and was not always just shuffled off screen to bake cookies. Cassie was a part of Y&R, and Y&R killed her. But the unexpected consequence of it all was that it also killed Nick and Sharon, their marriage. Nick and Sharon had survived so much. They'd been through so much. And then this. And Nick couldn't handle it. He changed. He just did. He just did. And then that change led him into the arms of another woman. And a real affair, folks. A real affair. Not just one or two times sleeping together. Nick and Phyllis were sneaking around while he was married to Sharon and while she was living with Jack. I mean, it's almost, we don't even see that today. Nick would go do Phyllis in a hotel room, and then he would go home and sleep in the bed next to his wife. You have got to rehear this story. The Nick and Phyllis affair, the beginning of Fick versus Schick, the beginning of Phyllis and Sharon's rivalry. I mean, look at them bonding this week, holding hands over the coffee table. And then go to yrchat.com or search it out on YouTube and think about how it all started. OMG birthday shout out to Tanya. Tanya's birthday is today. Oh, Tanya, I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful birthday. I think CBS must have heard your birthday was coming because they have scheduled a historic 4-episode crossover event between The Young and the Restless and Beyond the Gates that is going to air Tuesday, June 9th to Friday, June 12th. The episodes will feature Y&R stars crossing over into their network sister soaps world in Fairmont Crest. Ooh! Well, I'm intrigued. I am definitely intrigued. It just sounds like this is not a one-time thing. I mean, it seems like there have been other crossovers, but they haven't been like multi episodes, and this seems like it's going to be a much bigger deal. I might have to tune in for that. Tuesday through Friday. That's what we got to be on the lookout for. Oh, I almost forgot our Who Said It quote. This is real eloquent. My life sucks. Who should be so crass? My life sucks. If you think you know who said that and want to find out for sure, you should go to yrchat.com. Diana says, when Nick recovers from his addiction, I want to see him in some steamy, hot, sexy time scenes again, as it has been a long time. I have 3 picks that I have in mind for Nick that I would like to share. As I've mentioned on more than one occasion, Christine is my #1 pick for Nick. The timing is perfect, as Nick could hire Christine as his lawyer to find a way to keep Matt Clark behind bars for all he's done. Another person I'd like to see Nick with, if Christine doesn't work out, is Lauren. That could be unexpected but hot. And my last pick, and not necessarily in this order, would be Audra. And I've previously mentioned that a while back. They could bond over talking about addiction, as Audra mentioned that her father was an alcoholic. Yeah, you know what? I feel like Audra's so wide open. Like, she would be a perfect... Well, she's not. She's obviously in love with Noah, but what would a twist be if she got involved with his father instead? Oh, yeah. I mean, seeing Nick in that scene with Phyllis, that really prompted me too. What about Nick and Phyllis? I mean, why can't they have a reunion after this? I thought the chemistry was there, and I just in some ways feel like Phyllis's main loves have been Jack and Nick. I'm interested in maybe a Matt Clark thing. He's going to have to toughen up a little bit, though. Not the blubbering version of Matt Clark. I'm going to need a more self-assured version of Matt Clark if I'm going to pair him with my Phyllis. But I'm glad that the Newman Enterprises takeover stuff is behind her. I'd like to see her maybe hook back up with Nick, possibly, now that that's in my head. But Nick definitely is going to need a girlfriend at the end of this. Sharon W. says, thanks, Sharon, for showing Phyllis the love of a strong friendship. The fighting between you two has gone on too long, and you're both much stronger moving forward together. Maybe Genoa City can learn something from the darling of the town, that Phyllis also has some value and some worth, especially if Sharon thinks so. And Connie says, yes, good for Sharon. Phyllis's wounds were self-inflicted. Nonetheless, she's hurt and needs help. Forgiveness and redemption. She needs help, forgiveness, and redemption. I'm mindful that the Newmans went out of their way to make sure Summer knew about Phyllis's bad behavior. Yet Phyllis covered for Nick and didn't let Summer know about his addiction and his near-death mistake. She gave grace, and she could have gave grace in return. She could have grace in return. Ugh. Okay, well, first of all, the Sharon and Phyllis relationship evolving into a friendship it's still so unexpected. It still tricks my eyes. I see them and I assume there's going to be some sort of argument. And then we get this tenderness between them, and it's really very touching. It's really shocking how far they have come over the years. And I do think that you're right. Phyllis does deserve a little bit of grace somewhere, no doubt. Sue W. says, Phyllis is a great soap character. Michelle Stafford somehow keeps Phyllis's self-awareness consistently absent, yet strangely sympathetic in all the storylines. Phyllis never gets it. She always eventually sabotages herself, yet passionately believes her own narrative. Her convos with Daniel were typical evidence of just that weakness. She loved and was really, really proud of her company, the one she stole and then only hung her portrait and occasionally jabbed at her iPad for. She did the AI stuff for Daniel and Summer to think she's a success. Hardly. She did it to stick it to all of Genoa City and was completely dumbfounded when Daniel and Summer didn't approve. Oh, Sue W., way to lay it down. Way to drop that truth bomb right into the middle of the room. I mean, yeah. It's every time she's said it, how hard she worked for it all. I'm like, yeah. How hard she worked for those couple months to steal it all. Daisy says Phyllis stood in front of Christine saying she would give the Newmans their company back if... Well, saying she'd give their company back to them is indicative of her stealing it. It wasn't given to her. She didn't buy it. So I would think Christine has proof that Phyllis did commit a crime. No, she wasn't under oath, but the Newmans would never say anything like, oh yeah, just let her borrow it. Phyllis really belongs in prison or even a psych ward to sort out her issues. In a hospital, maybe we'd get to see her interact with Patty, who I don't think is well. Otherwise, why would she be obsessing over Jack? Jack should really call Paul in on this. In any event, I hope Phyllis will be charged at some point rather than her trying to justify what she did. Oh, Daisy, that's good because number one, yeah, I mean, Christine could still nail Phyllis. The whole legality, I mean, that whole scene was fully, let's wrap up this story now. This is the way we wrap it up. And also, you're making a really good point that now would be an ideal time to bring Paul back, considering Patty is on the scene. Last week I asked you guys, is Patty responsible for Diane's disappearance? 62% of you say no. Patty had nothing to do with it. Marianne V says, I don't think Patty had anything to do with Diane disappearing. I think Diane left town on her own and will eventually show back up. Barbara Lynn says, Patty, in my opinion, definitely had something to do with Diane's disappearance. And Astro says, it's too obvious to be Patty. I think Nikki's headaches are the side effect of her blacking out. I think Nikki and Diane got into an argument that got physical, and Diane hit her head and passed out. Then Nikki hid her somewhere in the blackout state, and normal Nikki doesn't know what she did. Astra, that is hilarious and so close to what actually happened when Diane faked her own death. I mean, literally, Nikki blacked out, hit Diane over the head with a rock, and Diane used it as a way to stage her own death. So that's very interesting that there's a precedent there, no doubt about it. The other thing I'm wondering about Diane, though, is I thought that I saw that Jack and Diane might be going to Fairmont Crest. So is there any chance that Diane just left a little early and she just, like, that's maybe like the transition from Y&R to Fairmont, from Genoa City to Fairmont Crest? I don't know. Could be wrong. Oh, Russell says, Kane and Lily are so amazing. These two actors are so talented. I can really feel the love between them. They're my favorite couple by far. I can't wait to see how this reconnection develops. And when they tear it down, it'll all be heartbreaking. Yeah, it's Lily and Kane definitely have chemistry. There's no doubt about it. The way he kind of teases her and the way that she never lets him have it. Teasing him in reverse. Yeah, the thing is, Victor gave Lily that company, and I have a feeling he knew that she would involve Kane, and then he is going to be weaponizing Matt to go after Kane. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see Matt begging Kane for a job next week or bumping into Kane, and Lily's going to ask Kane to run the company. Kane's going to hire Matt. That's how it's going to go. I, for one, would like to see Matt choose the light, not just sides. Russell says, why is Victor not trying to get Newman Media back from Sally? Is that next on his list, or is Y&R trying to reduce the number of media companies on the scene? I hope for that. Oh, that's interesting. So, yeah, you're right? Newman Media got sold off? Or no, didn't Abbott Communications is what became of, I think so. I think Abbott Communications turned into Spectre Charles Media. I think Newman Media still exists, and Adam will probably go back to running it. Oh, Victoria says today's great episode involving Matt reminded me of Dickens, A Christmas Carol. Sienna was the ghost of Christmas past, helping Matt remember his time in L.A. Nick was the ghost of Christmas present, prompting Matt's memory of all the terrible things he did and who he is now. Then Victor, the ghost of Christmas future, asking him if he deserves to live and letting Matt beg for another chance. The question is, will Victor soften and give him one? Oh, Victoria, wow, that's a great analogy. It was a very effective episode too. I enjoyed it. Considering it was also very flashback based, I enjoyed it a lot. I really watched the flashbacks too. A lot of times it's like, if it's sort of recent, I'm like, flashback. But I really watched those, and I thought it was compelling the way, and interspliced with, the current day, and wow, the way you're laying that out as an analogy of A Christmas Carol. That's really smart. I like it. Diane K says, how does Matt's button-down shirt stay so wrinkle-free? He's had that shirt on for 3 or more days and not a wrinkle. wondering is, was that the same shirt that Phyllis gave him in the hotel room? Remember, she gave him a shirt and it was blue, and I think that's the same one he was wearing, right? But what I was wondering was how he got the new shirt. He went to take the shower and he came back in a new shirt, and Victor had said that he was being watched. He wasn't going to get away with anything. And so presumably, like, the security team followed him around. Did they also break off and, like, go shopping real quick to get him a new shirt? Or did they pull something from Victor's closet? No, because Victor wouldn't have worn that. If Matt would have come out in one of Victor's black leather jackets, that would have been funny. I picture the ranch as being very secluded. It's not in town. You have to travel a little bit out of town to get to it. So did they have somebody run in, like, make as fast of a run as possible into the Genoa City dollar store? Because they're not going to spend money on Matt to pick him up something new. Russell says, have Nick and Matt swapped personalities? Freaky Fridays style? He turned on Phyllis seconds after thanking her for saving his life. He couldn't wait until tomorrow. And Robin says, the ending on Monday made me think there's going to be a reversal, with Nick being a bad guy and Matt being a good guy. Yeah, and Tony says, I see a science fiction movie scene where Matt and Nick have exchanged personalities. And Victoria says, I had the same thought about Nick. Reminds me of his churn with Dark Horse. His conversation with Phyllis was so brutal. Oh, Dark Horse Nick. That's the thing is, he couldn't quite pull it off. I remember the whole Dark Horse persona being very like, I ain't buying it. But now, after having been through this gritty drug storyline, he might just be able to pull it off. And you guys might be right. Maybe there's a personality switch here. Maybe we are getting good Matt and bad Nick. Gary says, in true Y&R style, I like the way Noah's new glam club is perfectly erected at first glance, complete with its lifetime of mementos, photos, reviews on the wall. You have to ask yourself if Genoa City really needs another of these places, with the town's pet shop and the little theater Allie's dream left unattended. I know, the businesses of Genoa City are kind of hilarious. I was thinking about all the bars that we've had. We had Jimmy's Bar, we had the Underground, we had Glowworm at a point, but that's more upscale. This is like in the Glam Club, this is a bar / nightclub. Maybe it's not upscale, it's just the fact that it's so darn dark. I don't know. We'll see how the poll comes out on that one. We'll see if the Y&R chatters are loving the Shadow Room. Well, Gary also says, today it hit home for Sally what she already knows. Her love affair was with Adam. Sally has manufactured a love with Billy because she is needy. A transfer was offered, and she figured she better take it. Blah. Y&R must know Sally was best with Adam, but they have made their bed. It's so hard because I think Adam has chemistry with Sally, but also with Chelsea. But at the end of the day, I feel like Sally's chemistry is stronger with Adam than with Billy. Tony says, I think Adam will get closer to her, seek her out to see if she's doing well, and want to be with her and the baby, because he wants to recreate what he had with her and their baby. It's okay, bio parents are not always required to be a family. Viewers just need to check their notes to remember who goes with which. Or maybe Adam will want another child so much that he will pursue Christian due to Nick's fitness as a parent, as an addict. Tony. What if that's exactly where we're headed? What if Adam continues to watch Nick spiral out and his reaction to that is to go after Christian? Ooh, hoo, 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 hoo. You never know. Could be in the cards. T. Nicole says, Adam's comment to Sally about parenting isn't for the weak rung very true to me. As a mom currently home with an infant and a toddler, it's very hard, yet a wonderful job. As someone who recently had to go with my son to a nursery school field trip, and where I was climbing through a play structure with a sinus headache coming in strong, I remember thinking, this is not for the weak. Also, shout out to all the parents out there and to all the moms and dads at home with young kids. I feel you. Oh, I feel you too, T. Nicole. I feel relieved my daughter is past that stage. She's much more independent now because, yeah, parenting is not for the weak at all. And that's why I only have one. I was like, let me never do that again. I have more of a Chelsea's reaction. No thanks. Oh, but you also stole my quote for the week. That was gonna be the quote of the week. So that just tells me that everybody would have known it. Everybody would have heard it. But as soon as he said that parenting is not for the weak, I was like, ding, ding, ding. I had it written down somewhere. I could show you. Actually, I will show you if you're looking. Here's where I put my, I don't know if you can see it on camera. Oh, I don't know if it's going to show up. The lights are too bright. But I make a list every week. As a quote comes into my mind, I write it down. And then at the end of the week, I pick the one that I like best. So I only had 2 this week. Parenting is not for the weak. And my life sucks. I also may have just showed you the answer to the Oh, well, oh, well. Connie says, Devon is becoming a sanctimonious jerk. He basically told Holden that he's not worthy enough to be in the Winters family, although he was the stand-up guy that immediately put aside his own shocked emotions and stepped up to save a stranger who happens to be a beloved member of the Winters family and his surprised dad. He proceeds to imply that Holden would try to cash in on the family name and fortune. Then he insults his sister's intelligence and condescendingly judges her ability to think logically because he doesn't like her compassion for others. As my granny would say, he needs a knot yanked out of his tail. And I concur. I've never heard that before. He needs a knot yanked out of his tail. That's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, that's the other side of the coin for sure, for sure. I don't know. I just keep, I've got this suspicious soap opera mind, and I think to myself, well, what if Stephanie and Holden are somehow pulling some kind of scam? I don't know how that could be. But yeah, I just kind of feel like the Holden thing happened rather fast, and I want somebody in there questioning these people. I don't want them getting away carte blanche with everything. But I think the thing is, Devon has this established pattern. It's less of a single incident and more of a personality type. He is never happy with anything. He is never fully accepting of anyone. And I think Malcolm's going to have a talk with him next week. Russell says, does Stephanie have a romantic eye on Nate? She'd be robbing the cradle, but that didn't stop Sienna. Allie, you better get in there and derail that action. I don't want to derail it. I actually feel okay with it if it brings Nate into a passionate relationship, because I'm sorry, Victoria, it is not. With Victoria, it is not. It doesn't feel passionate. It feels like, let's meet for coffee once a month. And that's all. I mean, I don't even think they ever have any sex scenes or anything. I think Nate is gonna need a story sooner or later. And Stephanie's thirsty and hungry. She's hungry and thirsty. So I say give it to her so I can watch. Gary says, is Nikki's white suit and tie better suited to Barry Manilow? Gary, I loved the white suit and tie on her. I mean, she looks great in white, which is not easy to pull off. But a couple times recently they've had her in all white, and it's like, oh, wow, that's great. But yeah, the suit and tie, you're right, it did kind of have a Manilow quality, like she should be on stage in Vegas or something. How about this? Connie's beauty salon observations from Connie. Victoria's pretty hair is back, and I think I figured it out. They have added auburn color highlights to the top and kept the blondish highlights on the bottom. The contrast worked today because of the bun in the back, so it wasn't too harsh on top, and then the lighter highlights were softened by the waves on the bottom. Claire's hair was also well done. The braid in the back was pretty and so much better than the Swiss Miss braids of the past. Sienna also got some auburn added to her color, and it has transformed her mousy brown to a color that matches her name. Well done, design team. Now we need the makeup team to fix Phyllis's lipstick. Oh, Connie, I have so many questions. Okay, first of all, are you a hairstylist? Second, when you get your hair dyed, do you get it like dyed from root to tip every single time? Or do you do, like, as it grows out, do you do just the roots? I don't know how it works, but maybe that does explain the mystery of Victoria's hair, which we have been trying to unravel now for a month, maybe more. So maybe they put a different color in at the top, on the top layers, and it's just that bottom still has that blondish in there, and it's a contrast issue. Yeah, because I don't think, I said it last week, I don't think it's a wig. Do you think it's extensions? I don't. I just don't. But then again, I wouldn't clock Phyllis's extensions either, and I know she has them. What is wrong with Phyllis's lipstick though? What am I missing on that one? I don't feel like I see that one. Claire's hair is always very beautiful. You're right. She had a little bit of misses, but Claire is beautiful. Really, really beautiful. And I thought there was something different about Sienna's hair, but I couldn't place my finger on it. Maybe it is a little bit of a different color, a little bit more sienna. Oh. Final comment comes from Robin, who says, congrats on your anniversary, Allie. I enjoy and look forward to your podcast and viewer comments. I was also hooked as a teen in the summer of 1974. Thank God the VCR was invented and I could record in the early 80s. In college, everyone watched at lunch in the student union or had to ask someone, what happened on Y&R today? Nikki was a teen then. Ah, you're killing me. That's awesome. Like, I often think about how big Y&R used to be. It can't be understated. It was huge. I mean, people walking around the student union asking what happened on Y&R today. It was everything back in the day, and now it is so reduced. But I love hearing stories like this. I love hearing stories about the way back of soaps, the way we used to have to shuffle around to get our stories, because, you know, back in the day, Y&R aired once. You know, if you missed it, you missed it. And then VCRs came along in the 80s, and also there were some recap sources. They used to print it in the TV Guide, or I don't know if you guys ever had those dial-in numbers. I think they were called City Line or Talking Fingers or something like that, but you could call up a touch tone, do a touch tone recap of the day's show if you missed it. That's how big it was. And then, let's see, DVR kind of replaced the VCR, and now we're into the streaming age when you can just stream your show anytime you want. But I have to say, and I felt this in watching the Memorial Day episode, there is still something so nice about watching the live broadcast. It feels like an event, you know, and maybe that's what I need to do with this Beyond the Gates crossover. I need to make it an event. If you have room in your life for another event, you should check out the Fauna and the Flora, where you are cordially invited to the Green Gala, a beautiful green and gold gala in the meadow with characters who I think you might feel connected to. Also, check out these retro recaps. I'm so excited about the Phyllis and Nick retro recap. Again, because like I said, I've wanted to do this one for a long time. I will never forget Nick and Phyllis's affair. It's a strange little pocket of mostly modern YNR. I guess at this point it's retro, but it's so connected to three characters who are still on the show today, and it really changed YNR forever. It's one of those ripple effects. So that's a really good video, and I'm excited also about the retro recap that you're going to see next week too. But I'm not going to spoil that one yet. You'll have to come back next week and find out. I've been posting those to my website on Saturdays. I've been releasing them on Saturdays. So if you have some spare time kicking around on, Saturday afternoon or evening, go to yrchat.com. I'll post that right up top. And throughout the week, I'm there posting photos and there's tons of comments there, and the quote and the poll, and that is a private website. You can't even find it in Google. You can't even find it in Google. It's just sort of a little word of mouth, little secret clubhouse that's there. And, I had to, unfortunately, pull that out of search several years ago, because it's like everybody I have but maybe 15 years worth of photos there. So everybody who's doing a Google image search now hits the website, and it overloads it. It became overwhelming. So I'm like, you know what? No, I'm pulling that. That is our private YNR chat website. You can only know about it if you hear me say it. And I love everybody there. That is such a good place to be. If you haven't stopped by there in a while, why not? There's a lot there. And if you can't, then, I think the next best thing would just be to come back next Sunday and chat about the whole week's worth of shows. I will definitely be here. Precedent says I will definitely be here. And I hope you are too. Okay, everybody, have a really good week. I will see you next Sunday. Bye.